I think the biggest thing is it creates belief, and you know, it's one of the things that I think is fascinating, and when you're dealing with 18 to 22-year-olds is, you know, eventually you want to see that the hard work and the commitment that you make to something, you want to see a direct result to it. And you know, for us, I think that this has been, you know, these guys, especially this senior class, I mean, these guys have dealt with a lot of hardship. And, you know, it's not because they didn't work hard, and it's not because they didn't love football. But I think the thing that finally resonates in our program is that this can happen. And not only with our players, but the people outside of our program, that success in winning football games in Ames, Iowa can really happen. And so I feel like, you know, it's been a long 2 years, I'll be honest with you. I don't even know. I think I'm 38 now. I feel like I'm 68 after this season. But, you know, it's one of those things that you got to work and you got to be relentless at it. And we got a great team. We got a great staff. We've got everybody aligned in our building that demands that this happens one day at a time. That's the only way things can change. It has to happen in small groups. It has to have a great alignment. So I think the short answer to the question, though, is belief. Yeah, you know, both guys have been great seniors for us, and you know, there's a standard that we've set in how we carry ourselves off the field too, and you know, both of them were just rule violations, and you know, nothing to tarnish either of those guys. Both those guys have been a major reason why we've been here, but you know, it's disappointing, but I think it's a lesson learned for our young guys and a lesson learned for everybody in the program that we're going to do things the right way, both on and off the field. Well, you know, I think two things. It's fitting that both these guys leave, you know, with really probably their best performances of the year, you know, in absolutely critical situations that allow this team to win. And, you know, for Joel, the play that comes at the end of the game, Coach Manning's got to get a lot of credit too. You know, we had been trying to shift and run the ball to Sean Buckner's side, and David Montgomery comes up with a huge block. He's the guy that blocks and kicks out the end, and we ran it away from him. And it's a great call by Coach Manning, and obviously a great job by the O-line. But you know, for Joel to be the guy that ends the season with the ball in his hand, and for Alan Lazard to have 10 catches, it's why we were who we are this year. It's because guys like that were willing to be their best week in and week out, and beyond grateful and really humbled by who these two are and what they stand for week in and week out.
Coach Anthony Robinson, We Don't Bluff .net. Just a little bit about Memphis caused the first fumble of the season, I think, which I was the first one to come in and beat them in this stadium.
Right. Yeah, you know, the fumble piece of it, and believe me, you know, the guy that the fumble was called on he's a guy that'll probably live with and probably eat at him now for about the you know, probably the next till we get to August next year. If you know that guy, he's maybe one of the greatest competitors we have in our program. So, you know, obviously great play by them and kept them in the game. You're talking to 3rd and 1 on the 1 yard line, you know, and so give them credit. And for us to come in here and win a game, and you know, that was one of the tougher challenges. You know, you got to come on the road and you got to play a team that's very familiar with their environment. You know, that's what makes a bowl game a little bit unique. Is usually it's at a neutral site, and certainly for Memphis it wasn't. But it was part of the challenge, and you know, part of the uniqueness of the game this year. And certainly, I knew our guys were up for it, and I think just adds to the lore of the win for this football team. Yeah, I think it's the opposite for me. You know, I think a sense of, I'm really going to miss these guys, you know, and I choked up last night in our team meeting because this group is a group that's as special as any group of young men that I've really been around. And, you know, when we came in here 2 years ago, I've never been around a group of kids that I just felt like the hope was missing. And, you know, I think for me, we were constantly trying to figure out how we were going to create hope and how we were going to get this thing turned around. And as a coach, you can do as much as you want, but until the players really buy in and take ownership in the program, coaching's way overrated, to be honest. And the reality of it is, it's players, and that's what football's about. Football's a really funny sport that way. And you know, this group is as resilient and as tough as any group of young men that I've ever been around. And it's really been an honor to coach them. I think sometimes that we think we change their lives, but it's really what I love about coaching still is that we get the opportunity to be taught by our seniors. And I mean, the stories of how Joel's handled himself and how Alan handles himself, how these kids act and carry themselves outside of football is maybe as special as I've been around. So for me, I think the emotion is I don't want it to end, and I really wish it wasn't ending. I wish we had more to play with this group, but the excitement for me is also to know what the foundation looks like going forward, and I'm really excited to get back with this football team in January, but I'll certainly turn over to them.